Good morning or good afternoon. Yeah, afternoon. Close enough. SaleenDriver here one more time. Another edition of Wednesday Afternoon Live. It sounds a little weird saying afternoon live versus Wednesday night live, but I've never done a Wednesday night live stream, have I? Mostly because my friend BVD does Wednesday night, and I don't want to interfere with him. Hey, Big Wrist, how you doing? Uh, let's see. Hang on a minute. Yo, Saleen. Well, yo, Bobby. What's up, man? How y'all doing? And have I seen that name before? Shri? Yeah, I've seen Shri here before. How you doing, guys? It's 2 years. Okay. So what's going on out there in the big old world? Hopefully none of you are in the way of Hurricane Sally, or I guess now it's a tropical storm since it made landfall. But hopefully none of you were involved in that. Different brand today. Have to use up some of my old stash. Well, you're in New Jersey? My condolences. No, I'm kidding. Maybe. Stuck in traffic. I didn't know you lived in Vegas. Okay. Yeah, well, okay. Vegas is what? 2 hours behind me, or 3 hours behind me. So I guess that means rush hour for you, right? And the bets here. Okay. Well, let's see. So we've got a good spread between watch people, and now we're starting to get the sports guys in here. Okay. So what's going on out there? Other than, well, let's see. I thought I was going to get interrupted by FedEx while I was doing this, but fortunately, FedEx has come and gone, and they delivered a very nice, little package for me, which will be up in the channel in a little bit. What's up, Gator Zone? One of my brother Gators, one of my one of the people that backs me up, and I back him up on the Uncle Lou and the BVD channels, where we're seriously outnumbered by other folks who refuse to see the greatness that is Gator Nation. But soon they will be. Soon they will realize being against Gator Nation is futile in the long run, because we're coming for y'all. It may be hard to go undefeated this year in the SEC, playing an all SEC schedule, but why not shoot for it? So you're stuck in an accident backup, huh? Man, I can empathize with that. I lived in Metro Atlanta from 91 to 2001. And I remember being on I-75 in the middle of Metro Atlanta. At one point, I-75 is literally eight lanes, north and southbound at one point, 8 lanes wide. And every afternoon it would stop dead. And it could have been a guy changing a tire on the side of the road. It could have been an accident, or it could have been just been sheer volume. Big Dog Brett's in the house. How you doing, guys? How you doing? Hey, well, hot damn, it's Big Dog Brett. Because he said, hot damn, it's the SaleenDriver. That's me. I am the SaleenDriver. Matter of fact, when this live stream is over and it doesn't look like it's going to rain. I don't think it's going to. I'll take the going to take the little beastie out of the garage, and I just put a new air controller on it. I got to see if it improved things or not. Yeah, well, I got 9 people in there and 7 thumbs up, so that's good. Yeah, I do. Thank you. I do appreciate that, Brett. Shree, my week was good. I mean, I don't do much, but when I do it, it goes well. How's it going, Ken? You are yeah, week has gone well so far. The week since my last live stream, it's gone well. We're getting closer and closer to college football for the Southeastern Conference. So one more week of enduring the second tier folks playing, and then the big boys will take the field on the 26th. That's always good. I did enjoy, however, watching Florida State get their asses handed to them by the North Avenue nerds from Georgia Tech. Like I've always said, my 3 favorite football teams are the Gators, Harvard University, that's because of my dad, and who's ever playing against Florida State. So number 3 is always a rotating temporary thing. Yes, I will even root for Miami, the Hurricanes. I will even root for the Hurricanes when they're playing against Florida State. That's true. That's true, Shri. We call what we call football, what we call soccer, you call football. What we call football, you call American football, or maybe a variation of what, Australian rules football or rugby or something. I know the games are not similar except for maybe the shape of the ball, but yeah. Well, when I say football, Shri, I'm talking about American football, and when I talk about soccer, then I'm talking about y'all's version of football. But I don't talk about soccer very much. I'm not really a fan. I used to love playing soccer when I was much younger. I mean, I played soccer almost every night at summer camp. I went to one of those overnight camps in the middle of the state of Florida, and every night after dinner, they'd turn us all loose onto the athletic field, and you could do all kinds of things. So I just went and played soccer every night because it was really the best thing to do, and I wasn't any good at it. I mean, they always stuck me in the midfield, and my specialty was knocking people off the ball. I think if I were playing regulation soccer, I would have gotten a red card inside of 20 minutes. So, wasn't very good at it, but it was enjoyable. Who is we ruined Florida State? Bet who is we? Because I know you ain't no Georgia Tech fan. Let's see. Big Riss says, I think every street in Vegas is under construction. I may never get home. Well, it seemed like every road in Metro Atlanta was always under constant state of construction. It seems like they underbuilt the road system on purpose, and then they'll spend the next 1,000 years trying to improve the road system for a traffic pattern that's 20 years out of date perpetually. So, yeah, that's the way it is. I think people's been saying for years, building a road is the best way to guarantee work for a construction company. I remember when they built I-75 in Florida, they finally finished the link between Tampa and just below Sarasota, Bradenton area, around a little city called Venice. That was the final link in 75 through Florida. And when they finished building, it was 3 lanes wide, both directions. nice, fresh concrete. And within 6 months of finishing it, the concrete started to crack. And within a year, it started to crumble and get holes in it. And they spent the next 3 years digging up the cracks, digging up the holes, and not tearing out the whole lane or anything, just digging out like 4 by 4 foot sections of the concrete, injecting some kind of epoxy sideways and this way, sideways in the north-south direction and sideways east-west, and then relaying the concrete in a block. I-75, unless you were in an ancient Cadillac with the cushy suspension, you pounded your kidneys into dust. And then 5 years later, they ended up tearing out the whole thing and redoing it in asphalt anyway. So you got to wonder, did they do it on purpose to guarantee themselves work, or were they just incompetent? So were they incompetent or were they criminals? You tell me. At least now it's a ride that you can take without bruising your spine. Let's see. Big Dog Brett says, if you ain't wearing a helmet, it ain't football. Well, the Europeans will probably argue with you, but I'm not going to argue with you. Bet, I don't know who we is. Who is we? We shattered Florida's hopes and dreams of having a running game in Atlanta. I don't know who we is. Your two comments mean nothing to me until I know who we is. And big risk, yeah, job security. You're absolutely right. It is job security. So it's perpetual contract work, and it works even better if you're up north in Union Country. Oh yeah, you're right, Gator Zone. I think he is a gump. I don't remember Alabama playing Florida State recently. Oh wait, they did. They played two years ago or something like that, or 3 years ago, and they knocked that QB. Yeah, 2007, so 3 years ago, and they knocked Florida State's QB out of the game and out of the season. God, what was his name? DeBose or the bitch or the whatever. I don't remember. Yeah, and they ended up with the pencil. Francio? Yeah, I'll look it up. Hang on. I'll look it up. Hang on. FSU QB in 2017. Let's see. That was who? DeAndre Francois. Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Ben. You found it at the same time I did. Okay. Well, yeah, they knocked Francois out for the season in that game, and that was the last time the Gumps played the Criminals. Yeah, no, you didn't run Urban Meyer out of town after 2009 because he stuck around for another season. Then he ran himself out of players. Anyway, y'all believe what you want. I don't. I don't care, Bet. You believe what you want. You do anyway. So, you can rewrite history any way you wish. Let's see. So Shri, I guess if you made the comment about football being soccer here, I'm assuming you're coming in from overseas, Europe or somewhere. or are you in America and you're transplanted European? We didn't get a lot of European tourists here where I live this year. All the Wuhan Red Death um, kept the kept the Europeans home. They couldn't travel here. That really didn't help our local economy very much. So you're in England now. Okay, I get it. Okay, well, so are you a big football fan over there? Who's your team over there? Here also owns a team over in England. I think it was it Manchester United. I can't remember. I think he owns it or he's part owner anyway. Big Risk says no tourists here. Yeah, I saw a video. Big Risk from. Are you familiar with the term Karen? Okay, so you're a Man U supporter. Okay. There was a video up recently I saw of a bunch of Karens being run out of a casino in Vegas because they weren't wearing masks and they just goaded and baited the casino workers. They were goading them and baiting them to some kind of reaction or something, and they were walking all over the casino, trying to take their damn sweet time of getting out of the place, and the casino was empty. I mean, even the slot machines. Usually you see stock footage of slot machines in Vegas, and they have these folks just sitting there, pulling on the arm and just sitting there drinking their drinks and munching on their whatever. And those places all the casinos were empty. I cannot imagine Las Vegas being that empty. It really brought home what's going on with the Wuhan Red Death. Let's see. Gator Zone said Jimbo, meaning Jimbo Fisher, the scumbag former coach of Free Shoes University. Jimbo was supposed to go to Auburn, but Auburn beat Georgia and Bama and decided to keep Malzahn. Jimbo got stuck in no man's land, which no man's land, for those of you who don't know it, is Texas A&M, which is a shit team, really. I'll bet you're going to go deal with a hurricane. Okay. Be safe out there, man. Keep your head down. Don't get hit by flying debris and and if you're out of power, what are you doing on here anyway? I mean, what are you doing? Conserve your battery. Jesus, the one thing I learned about Hurricane Irma a few years ago that blew through here is you gotta watch out for your battery consumption on these devices that we depend on these things, and if you can't charge them, they go dead faster than you think. Okay, so Gator Zone likes his soccer. He supports FC Cincinnati. Okay. Yeah, Lou always talks about what Atlanta United or whatever the name of the Atlanta team is, and I just can't get into soccer, man. I just can't do it. It doesn't do anything for me. I just no, I don't know. Let's see. Ken is wearing a Notice Contrail. Okay, that's a good watch. Ken, I finally managed to get a guy, John Kyle, who's big watch community guy. He is actually shipping me an NTH Devil Ray to review and play with. So I am finally going to get my hands on an NTH. I finally got my hands on a Zin. I just shot the video this morning. I finally got my hands on a Talker. I just uploaded that video this morning. I'm finally going to get my hands on an NTH. So I'm finally getting my hands on some of these watches that everyone talks about. Notice and what is it? Phoebos. Phoibos. I want to try and get one of those each. I'm wearing this is my very first Zelos. This is the first Zelos I ever bought. It's a first generation hammerhead meteorite dial in bronze. I'm still doing that wear a different Zelos every day in September challenge that Random Rob put me up to. So this is Genesis. This here. This is the alpha watch. This is the beginning of the Zelos addiction. So enjoy. Very good on the wrist. It's very different. I haven't been wearing too many hammerheads lately, so I'm kind of, it took about 10 minutes to get used to the get used to it. That's a good question, Gator Zone. What was my first watch and what got you into watches? Well, I've had two separate times where I collected watches, serious watches. I mean, I had a watch once in a while when I was much younger, typical cheap plastic chronograph digital watch. They don't count. The first serious watch I ever got, I still own it, was a Doxa professional diver. That's the orange one. I bought it in 2006, which was about a year after my divorce. Because, of course, when you're divorced, you don't have to answer to anybody, do you? Don't have that problem. I answer to one person, me. Yeah, Ken, that's right. That was where he offered me the watch. It's on its way now. He said. I bought a whole bunch of Doxa watches right after I bought that first one, and then things kind of tightened up on me a little bit financially, so I stopped collecting for a while. I still kept the watches, but I stopped buying watches, and then I stopped wearing them after a while, and I put all those watches away and kind of forgot about them actually for a little while. And then about I want to say 6 years ago, 5 years certainly, maybe 6. My dad, who has been collecting watches for decades, he started talking watches to me, and he never had showed me his collection before. He never sensed that I had any real interest in it, but for some reason he decided that he was going to see if I had interest in these things. And I did. I did. I just looked at him and it's like, yeah, shiny. And then he gave me one of the watches that wasn't working, and it was a Rolex. It wasn't working, and he said, "Here, everyone should experience a Rolex. This one doesn't work. Go get it repaired, and if you can get it repaired, you can play with it a while." And when he says you can play with it for a while, it's sort of his euphemism that says you can have it with the understanding that I might want to have it back for a little while. So actually, right now, my dad and I fairly freely swap watches, which is good that I know how to swap bands and add and remove links, and I have the right tools and such to do it, so that, because his wrist size and mine are different. So on a band, it's no problem, but if it's a link bracelet, you have to fix that. But yeah, so I kind of started on my own in the mid 2000s, but my dad really restarted me about 6 years ago, and I've been collecting ever since. So I'm fascinated with these damn things. I watch videos all the time to find out how they work, and there's this one channel I like. It's not very originally title is called the Watch Repair Channel, and I think the guy is Australian or something like that. but he does videos where he strips down and repairs and reassembles watches of various movements and stuff like that, and restores cases and things like that. Puts dead watches back together and makes them look good again. And I've learned a lot just by watching it. I may not be able to take a watch apart and put it back together because, quite frankly, my eyesight isn't good enough to do it, and I don't have the tools to do it. But I at least know how they work, and I have an understanding of how they work now. So I'm a better watch buyer and consumer, and I can even give advice and feel confident. Well, what and Gator Zone wants to know what I think of Bulliver. Well, it depends. Are you talking about the vintage Bullivers, or are you talking about the current stuff? I own a couple of vintage Bullivers. In fact, if you look on my channel, you'll see videos of them. They're the two oldest watches I own. I mean, one of the Bullivers is authentically dated back to 1961, and it still works right now. As a matter of fact, I just set it. It's sitting over there in a case. I just reset it this morning because it was slow by about a minute. And the old Bulliver Accutrons are fantastic watches. And they eat batteries like a fat man eats potato chips, but they keep great time, and they're electrical watches. They don't use a quartz oscillator. They don't use or like this watch that's an automatic. It doesn't use a free spinning movement. It uses an electric oscillator based off of the vibrations of a tuning fork. And the tuning fork vibrating is what sets the timing of the watch. And that predates quartz, and it was such an accurate way of keeping time that not only did the American railroad system use Accutron watches to keep their schedule, but NASA used that watch, that timing mechanism, to keep time on the moon shots, the Apollo craft. As a matter of fact, they didn't want Bulliver to sell the watches commercially because they were afraid that the Russians would get a hold of the technology. But eventually they did, obviously. Hey, Mike, how you doing? Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. Now, Gator Zone, the modern Bulliver watches, the modern Bulliver watches I don't have any use for. None of the ones that I've seen, except for maybe the Precisionist, feels like a decent watch to me. I actually looked at buying one of them, it was a reissue of a vintage Accutron called the Devil Diver, because it's rated to 666 feet, 666 Devil Diver. And the reissue, when I finally got to hold one in my hand, felt like the girl who handed it to me, when I put it in my hand, I said, "This feels like tinfoil." It was really disappointing, and they wanted $800 for it. And I looked at the girl, and I said, "Would you pay $800 for this watch?" And she looked at me and she says, in a very low voice, she said, "No." I said, "Then I won't either." Now, Bulliver recently split off their Accutron division, and they just announced some reissues, some 2020 modernizations of the old Accutron movement. They're up around $3,500. They look fantastic. I would love to own one someday, but I'm not going to pay $3,500 for a watch right now. I'll have to wait till my second child is out of college first. That's just not going to happen right now. Maybe I'll be able to pick one up on the secondary market at a lower price in a year or so. But the new ones look really, really good. So I was really impressed with that announcement. And we'll see. But overall, Bolivar used to be a great watch to own. Nowadays, the Bolivars I wouldn't I wouldn't bother with except for the Precisionist. And I'm eyeballing the new Accutron reissue, but it's too much money right now. You have a Bolivar? Well, what vintage Bolivar do you have? Big Wrist is on a computer now, though that helps him. Oh, you have a Precisionist. That's good. Yeah, delicate. That's usually not a good sign on a watch that purports itself to be a sports watch. Yeah, I really don't want to have too much to do with a watch where it's hard to change the battery, but because then yeah, you get into those. I mean, if it's a press fit, you get into those a case knife scenario, and you can really destroy the back of the watch. Getting into one of those things. At least the old Accutrons have with the 214 movement have a little screw on port on the case back. You had to use a crystal press. Oh Jesus! No, that's too much. I don't own a crystal press. Um, I suppose if I were modifying watches more or ever, I would probably invest in a crystal press, but I'm not, so I don't have one of those tools. Let's see. Gator Zone says, I'm not sure how to figure out what model it is. My wife got it for me as a wedding present. Well, was it a new watch when she got it for you, or was it a vintage? Ken has one. Okay, vintage. Vintage Boulevard. The only info I can find out is from 1969. So it is probably an Accutron. I tell you what, Ken, if you hold it up to your ear, does it hum? You should hear a humming if it's running. If it's running and you hear it hum, that's an Accutron because the humming is the vibration of the tuning fork. Yes, Rack Dog, Saleen Live. That's me. Okay, manual wind. Okay, so sorry, I can't help you there. I don't know very much about those. So Gator Zone, that's a new 2015. I don't know. You could probably look it up on Bolivar's website. Maybe. Wait a minute. Another one of those robo texts. Anybody else getting a lot of robo texts lately? I'm getting at least 2 a day now. Assholes. Leave me alone. I don't know. You might be able to find out about it. 2015, the watch might be listed on their website still. I don't know. Or you could take it to a Bolivar authorized Bolivar dealer or authorized Bolivar jeweler and see if they could tell you anything about it. Yeah, political stuff. Let me take a look at it. Vote by mail. How about yeah? I keep typing stop whenever I get one of these damn things, and it says I will no longer receive text. Yeah, from that fucking phone number. Yeah, I'll still get text from the other phone numbers. Other 10,000 of them. Jesus, leave me alone. Let's see. Rack Dog says, I'm totally clueless. I just thought I'd stop by and say go dogs. Whatever. Go Gators. No, I'm kidding. Well, I hope the dogs have a good season. right up until the cocktail party, and then I hope you fall apart. You're going to spend the first few weeks trying to figure out who your quarterback is. You better figure it out before the Alabama game. Because the Alabama game ain't no joke. Of course, Alabama's got to figure out who their quarterback is too, don't they? Gator Zone says he gets texts from the Bernie campaign a lot. No thanks. I don't know how I got on this. Doesn't matter how you got on because you have a phone number. They just grab numbers. I mean, it's just a random number generator for all I know. Season. Yeah. I mean, only 10 games is fine. I mean, it doesn't have to be 11, just 10. But we all know that's not going to be true. Of course, if, week one, if Felipe finally figures out how to win a game without making an ass out of himself and he manages to help beat UGA, that's going to be the funniest thing I've ever seen. Couldn't beat him when he played for Florida, but he might, beats him when he plays for Arkansas. It's not going to happen, obviously, but that would be very funny. I think Lou's head would explode if that happened. It won't happen, of course, but hang on a minute, let me clean this up. There we go. So let's see, where are we? What were we talking about? Oh, Bulovas? Yeah, that's a good point too. What if Franks ends up beating Georgia this year and then Georgia beats us? I don't know that I could ever turn a football game on again in my lifetime. That won't be good. Yeah, that's a good point, Rack Dog. If that Arkansas game is close, let's say what happens in the Arkansas game, what happened in the Vandy game last year. Remember the Vandy game? Were you watching his live stream during the Vandy game? And Georgia ran out to like a 21-point lead in the first half, ran away and hid. Locked Vandy down in the second half, but only scored 6 points, 2 field goals for the rest of the game. I swear to you, the man's team was winning and controlling the game beautifully, and Lou was pissed. Yeah, he was big mad. Absolutely right. He was big mad. He was foaming at the mouth. And then the post-game rant on the phone. You'd think Georgia lost by 27 points or 24 points or whatever it was. You think they lost by that much instead of won by that much. But, I understand, I mean, I was ranting and raving every game that Felipe Franks played. I was sitting there every time he dropped back to pass. It was like, here comes the pain. Here comes the mistake that costs us the game, and damn near cost us the Miami game. I swear to God, if Franks doesn't throw that pick with 4.5 minutes left, I would live to be 90 instead of 80. I was sorry that Franks got hurt as bad as he did. Trust me. I've had a blown up ankle before. I know that's a hard one to recover from, but nobody was happier to see Trask come in and just, do what he did. I mean, Lou was right. It was the story of the year in college football. It's too bad that he couldn't beat LSU, but that was a big ask to beat that team. And I wish he could have beat Georgia. We kept it close, but if you can't run the ball, eventually that catches up with you. So, we kept it close. What can we say? Yeah, he does get angry over wins. So, that happens. I don't know. Just, however it works, right? Um, but yeah, Georgia better come out swinging against Arkansas. I think that Lou might have an aneurysm. poor poor guy gets wound up way too much. But you know, he is a big Georgia fan. I understand. Gators don't want to know if I ever go to road games. When I was living, when I was going, I went to. I'll get to that in a second, Rack Dog. Um, I went to several road games. I went to well, I don't know if it's count as a road game, but I did go to two cocktail parties. That was a ton of fun. I went to one game at FSU and spent a afternoon in that dump they call it a stadium, and ended up with a vandalized car for my trouble because Florida won the game, and I had several of my windows blown out. I was just glad that I still had all four tires up. Um, um, I mean, windows are easier. At least windows, you can drive home with the windows open. It was cold, unfortunately, but you know, just zip up your jacket, turn the heat up. But at least the tires didn't get torn out, or else I would have been stuck in Tallahassee. That's not a town I want to get stuck in. Those are the only road games I ever went to. I went to. I did end up going to the Citrus Bowl one year. Florida wasn't in it, but a friend of mine had tickets, and we went to a Citrus Bowl game, so that was interesting. Um, when I was a not student anymore, I did go to a couple of road games in, of all places, Vanderbilt. One year I went with my now ex-wife. The Atlanta Gator Club chartered three buses and took a whole bunch of club members and their family up to Nashville, and we saw the game and then came home. And then in 2006, that was the national championship year. My best friend from high school, and the brother I never had, he was getting married in a hotel across the street from the stadium, and he got married. And during the reception, I snuck out. I walked across the street, bought a ticket, and walked into the stadium. Sat with the Gator section, and I'm sitting there in a suit and tie at a football game. Unfortunately, nobody saw fit to take a picture of me, but I sat with all the Gator fans, and that was a lot of fun. This is the most overdressed person in the entire stadium, I guarantee it. Rack Dog, what'd you have in mind? And then I'll answer the question. Gators on Nashville is nice. It is a nice city, and you know, good food there too. Very clean city. Just a shitty football team. So you know, I know I am going to do a money bet with Lou. So no, Rack Dog. I'm not. I don't do point bets. That's why I'm not on Bet Now. I do win or lose. I don't do spread bets because that's silly to me. I mean, my team won by 3 points, but the spread was 7, so I lost money. You know, I understand the principle, but the logic of that escapes me. So I do win loss. So And quite frankly, I don't have a lot of money to spare right now because I'm about to make a major watch purchase, and I put all my spare change, as it were, into that watch. So um, thanks, but no thanks. Gator Zone said Old Miss plus 10. Old Miss isn't getting out of bed. Okay, I'll wait till the cocktail party. I think Jesse J wants to do some kind of Florida wins, he wears a shirt. If Georgia wins, I wear a Georgia shirt or whatever. I might do one of those, but I'm not doing something where I'm pouring some kind of liquid over my head. I'm not doing a bet where I have to sing a song. I'm not doing a bet where I have to tattoo myself or shave some kind of body part or something idiotic like that. Body part or something idiotic like that. You know, a hat or a t-shirt is about as far as I go. I'm not into self-flagellation. You know, I'm not into self-abuse. Just, it ain't my thing. No, I'm not doing milk. You know, I never get the smell out of my hair if I do that anyway. But I don't even have any milk in the house right now. That just reminds me. I gotta write that down. Hang on. Milk. Okay. I'm going to the grocery. I gotta go to the post office and the grocery store after the stream. So I got a list. See, got a list. Never go grocery shopping without a list. That's the quickest way in the world to get screwed up. If you don't have a list, you don't know what you're doing. You can really screw yourself into the ground. You're doing something wrong. I know I pissed off a couple of people in I think it was BVD's stream where I pissed off a couple of people. You know, such is life. Well, I know one of them got pissed off something I said in Lou's stream, carried it over to BVD's stream, and I finally got to the point where I just had to hit the block on a couple of them because the stupidity was intolerable, quite frankly. And I'll address that at some other point. That Big Risk wants to know what watch I'm about to buy. Well, I'm about to buy, surprise, surprise, I'm about to buy another Zelos, but not just any Zelos. There's going to be a very limited release of a Zelos watch. It recently just introduced the titanium version of the Swordfish line. Well, Elshin has done several watches with a technique called titanium Damascus. It's oh, here, I got a picture. Hang on, I'll show you if I can. Hang on. Hang on, I gotta find it. Okay, here we go. Okay. Can you see that? Oops. No, you can't see it because I just turned the power off. That was stupid. Okay. Okay, Gator Zone. Thanks for stopping by. Can you see that pretty well? See, these watches are titanium. Okay. Now see the two on the top, the blue ones, right? These are, well, they're all titanium Damascus. I mean, the Damascus is a technique of metal working where you fold metal into layers and they create a pattern. Uh, Elshin, the owner of Zelos, does it with titanium, and then he heat treats it to either a blue finish or yellow finish. Although the yellow finish is something new for him. But I have one of those watches, not that model, it's a different model. I did a video on it on my channel. It's the Zelos ZX7. So he's doing several swordfishes. I think about a run of about 40 or 50 of them in those watch faces and case colors. And they're not cheap. But I'm buying one, and I'm buying one for my father. He wants one, so I'm going to buy him one. I'm going to buy me one. And they're not cheap. And they're really hard to get. Whenever he does a top right, the top right is the one would the top right have been the black watch face or the meteorite watch face, or the gray one? Yeah, I'm very faithful to Zelos, and the owner of Zelos has been very faithful to me because I don't ask for, nor do I expect, nor do I think I get special treatment, but I get treated very well by Zelos, and they make a quality piece. Really nice designs. I mean, they're using off-the-shelf movements. I mean, they're not reinventing the wheel with respect to the watch movement, nor do I'm not a movement snob. Like these watches here, these are going to be, decently expensive watches, but they're using a Seiko movement. I don't care. Seiko movement is tank tough and runs forever. I mean, almost never needs service. Yeah, to me, that's a plus. I don't need a 42 jeweled Lamagna movement that's been modified so heavily that only the maker of the watch can service it, and you have to ship the watch off to Sweden or Switzerland, I should say. My dad has a watch right now that is not working properly. It's losing about 10 minutes a day. It obviously needs service. The watch is a custom movement. They want you to ship it to Sweden, Switzerland. I don't keep saying Sweden, Switzerland. They're shipping it as a ton, a couple $100. They want $800 just to look at the watch. And they know we've already told them what's wrong with the watch. I sent the email for my father. I'm acting like a watch agent for my father now. And they said, we're pretty sure we know what's wrong with it. It's $4,000. They credit you the $800 diagnostic fee. So it's $4,000 to open the watch, diagnose it, take it apart, clean it, polish it, repair it, replace parts, put it back together, and then they'll ship it back 2-day insured. So $4,000. So movement snob I don't need to be, trust me. But that's the watch that's got me all hot and bothered. Hey, Colby, how you doing? Hey, Colby, glad you're here. I got an email this morning that DVD, the Earnhardt DVD, a Blu-ray in my case, is on its way to me, should be here by the end of the week. So if I have some time this weekend, I'll pop it in the player and give it a watch. Yeah, very true, Shri. You can get a nice watch for $4,000. Hell, you can buy a Rolex for $4,000. Obviously, it's going to be the entry-level Oyster Perpetual for $4,000. But yeah, I mean, to give everyone some context, $4,000 can buy you, hell, $4,000 can buy you a Omega Moon watch and have change left over. $4,000 you can buy a Tudor. You figure it out, but that Zelos is definitely why I'm getting it. $4,000 in terms of percentage is, let me think here for a minute. You mean if the watch was new or what it's worth now? Well, let's assume you're saying, what percentage is new. That particular watch, 4%. I'm sorry, $4,000 would be about 5%. Yeah, 6%, somewhere in there. So yeah, it's an expensive watch to begin with. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's not a bejeweled, crazy piece. It's just a very. I mean, the particular company I'm talking about maybe produces about 150, 175 watches per year for world consumption. The watch case is precious metal. The movement is 100% their movement. It has like 14 or 15 different patents in the movement. So yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's not a cheap watch to buy. It's not a cheap watch to maintain. But I was just using it as an example of what happens if you become a movement snob and you won't buy a watch because it has an off-the-shelf Seiko movement or an off-the-shelf ETA movement or a Sellita movement. And that's Sellita, Sellita, not Slita, like Sellita, the YouTuber. Yeah, the big risk, definitely worth it. Absolutely. That watch is definitely worth repairing. And it will get done eventually. I know it's going to get done. It's just, it's a matter of when you want to do it. I mean, the price is not going to change very much. Certainly the parts, the parts are going to have to be made. If any parts have to be replaced, they're going to have to make the parts to replace it with anyway. That's part of the service. So it's not like the watch is going to be obsolete and nobody can work on it. It's just a matter of when do you want to do it and how long do you want to be with. Well, you're without it anyway because it doesn't work right. So just by sitting there, you're without it anyway because it doesn't work right. So just by sitting there in the watch case, you're not losing anything at the moment. So yeah, it's just a matter of time, basically. Matter of time. See what I did? Well, it's been about an hour. See what I did there? I made a funny. Well, it's been about an hour since I went online, and the chat is pretty small at the moment. So, and I got a couple of things I got to get. I appreciate you guys being here. Pardon me. So, help with the more like or comments, questions, selections down below. I do read them all. However, if you are going to be, appreciate you guys stopping by. Big Risk, Ken Spear, Shri, Colby, Gators Owned, Riggs, the bet. If you're not already a subscriber on here, please do on the way out. Wednesday, I'll probably go live sometime during the week. I don't know when. Probably whenever I feel like it. So if you're down where Hurricane Sally, promise. Peace.